All right, everybody, welcome back to Stinker Drinker Thinker. I am Anthony Longano. Me and Troy the Body Viglotti are going to make you some cocktails today in the spirit of my least favorite holiday ever, Valentine's Day. If you're like me, you're usually alone and drinking, and I'm even married. Never celebrated Valentine's Day. Been dumped on Valentine's Day. I mean, it's just the dumbest holiday. But when I think of Valentine's Day, I think of two different things. I think of chocolate and warmth, and I think of like flowers and being drunk. So I'm gonna take two classic cocktails and riff on them, and I think Troy is gonna do an original for us. Yeah, okay, so let's start with this. I think one of my favorite cocktails of all time is a Sazerac, and from New Orleans. It's one of the, I think it was like one of the first cocktails ever, they say. It's basically, if you think about it, it's an old fashioned with cognac and Peychaud bitters. So I think that's gonna be, I could see us riffing on that with maybe like a chocolate edge. So I think I'm gonna do a chocolate cherry Sazerac. And to me, that makes my mouth water. And if you think about it, like Valentine's Day, all right, so chocolate's an aphrodisiac, it gets you going. Whiskey makes you limp. So, you know, a little bit of both and see what happens and report back to us. You can leave that in the comments. Couple things we'll need. So we're gonna need a mixing glass. And a typical Sazerac recipe is 6 dashes of Peychaud bitters, about a 1/4 ounce of sugar, simple syrup or Demara syrup. And then people have been fighting over this for decades on the cognac to rye whiskey ratio. I typically do a 1/2 ounce of cognac and 1.5 ounces of rye, but you want it to be 2 ounces. So whether that's you do an ounce of cognac or an ounce of rye, whatever it is, I'm gonna do a 1/2 ounce of cognac today and a 1/2 ounce of rye whiskey. So, and then the secret ingredient to Sazeracs is absinthe, and there's 2 ways you can do that too. If you're not a fan of absinthe, you're probably not gonna like the way I do it. But typically you take a Nick and Nora glass, which is gonna be our chosen glassware today, and you give maybe a 1/4 ounce of absinthe and you rinse the glass with it. So you dump it in, swirl it around a chilled coupe or a chilled Nick and Nora glass, and then you dump that before you pour your drink in. I'm gonna use something different. If you like absinthe, this is probably a good idea. This is called an atomizer. It looks like a pepper spray. I mean, really, it kind of is. It could be breath spray for you too, but I essentially took absinthe and I put it in this atomizer. But instead of rinsing the glass, we're gonna use this, and I'm gonna do it before and after. You'll need bitters. So I got Peychaud here. I got it in my bitter dasher. And then I want some like thicker, richer chocolate to this. So I am going to use a Scrappy's chocolate bitter. And if you compare bitters, and especially chocolate bitters, that one just has like this rich kind of milk chocolate, but also like this deep baking dark chocolate type of thing to it. Next up, because we're doing a chocolate cherry old fashioned, or chocolate cherry Sazerac, sorry, we're gonna do some Luxardo Maraschino liqueur. And then we're still gonna use, even with the Maraschino liqueur, some would argue that you could use this kind of as your sugar replacement. I'm still gonna put some sugar in it as well. So we're gonna use a Demara syrup, 1-to-1 Demerara sugar to water, just like a simple, but it's a little bit richer. I even prefer rich Demerara syrup, which actually comes out more of like a molasses, but for this one we're doing equal parts. We're gonna do Pierre Ferrand Cognac, 1/2 ounce of that, and then we're gonna use Sazerac Rye, because you know what? What the hell else am I gonna do with Sazerac Rye? I'm surely not gonna drink it, and it says Sazerac on it. Typically you don't wanna use, I mean, it's a boozy drink, right? It's a boozy drink. You typically don't wanna use something over 100 proof. Rittenhouse really works well, but I mean, it says Sazerac on the bottle, and people overpay for this stuff. And literally this bottle, I've had it for almost 2 years, and all it's for is Sazeracs. All right, so we'll do that. I'll get this out of the way and we'll start building our drink. All right, so what you'll need: mixing vessel, spoon, hawthorn strainer, and then a beautifully chilled Nick and Nora. So first thing we're gonna do, don't be scared, we're gonna spray, let's give this a nice, put a good amount in there too. I mean, it might look like I'm overdoing it, but remember, you're supposed to rinse this, right? So if you look at that, it smells absolutely beautiful. So I always start with the lowest ingredients first. Since typically 6 dashes of Peychaud is what's in a Sazerac, I'm gonna do 4 and then 2 dashes of chocolate bitter. So And I mean, if you look at a Sazerac normally, it usually has a little bit of a red color to it. It's not going to be as red, but it's still going to be awesome. So 2 dashes of this chocolate bitters. It's really enough, trust me. Building the drink with the lowest proportions first. I'm just going to take a bar spoon of this Luxardo Maraschino. It's okay if you get a little bit more than that, but always, it's, you know, not quite a 1/4 ounce, but it's a bar spoon. Right? And then I'm definitely going to do an exact 1/4 ounce of the sugar, the Demara. Simple syrup works too. Like I said, this is just a little bit richer, a little bit bolder flavor. I dig it. So we're gonna do a 1/2 ounce of the cognac. Any cognac works, but I mean, just because you're mixing a drink doesn't mean you shouldn't use good cognac. This is good cognac. It's 50, 60 bucks and it's worth it. It's great for cocktails, or if you're like the ladies man and you like sipping cognac straight, do it, right? So then we'll do 1.5 ounces of Sazerac Rye. This is the only thing it's good for. Cool. Add some ice. I like to stir with large cubes. Might be too big, but fuck it. When I'm stirring, the whole point of large cubes is not to dilute the drink as much, but to get it cold quicker, right? So you do want to stir a little bit longer because it's going to get ice cold, but it's not going to dilute as fast as what your normal fridge ice is. When we had Raj on here, taught me a little trick with normal fridge ice. Now, fridge ice is cold, but it is smaller, and it does dilute quicker. It's not about how much you put in the glass. Raj barely put any ice in his stirring vessel, and he stirred it maybe 5 seconds, and then he let it sit there for about 1.5 minutes. I'm stirring this the whole time, and at this point it's probably diluted, and I know it's cold, right? So I'm gonna strain this into our chilled Nick and Nora. Oh yeah. A little bit of the angel share. We're gonna take a lemon. Nice, good, chunky peel off that. We're just gonna express it here. Wipe it right around the edge. When you express, you want to twist it with the peel side pointed towards the drink. The oils expunge from there. Wipe it right around. And then, you know, for good measure. And that is your chocolate cherry Sazerac. Oh. Ready to get your ass fucked?
How's everybody doing? I am going to make you guys an original, a Troy the Body Viglati original Valentine's Day cocktail. It's going to be a spin on something that I've come up with for the bar that I'm currently running and employed at. And it's very much catering to kind of the opposite of what Anthony was doing. The people who actually like Valentine's Day. The people who have positive memories and experiences.
Boo!
And think about, you know, little hearts and, you know, strawberries covered in chocolate and love and, you know, whatever else happens after that. But yeah, let's dive right in. My base spirit was initially going to be vodka or gin, but you know, since we're in the spirit of basically hating vodka here and not really doing much with clear spirits, I figured we could do something with whiskey, which thankfully it works. This is going to be a shaken cocktail, and the base of it is going to be an Irish whiskey, McConnell's. We're going to do the sherry cask, the sherry finish, which is a very delicious whiskey that I almost feel guilty about mixing into a cocktail, but fuck it, we're going to do it. And so, the primary component, aside from the whiskey, is raspberry. I wanted to do something with fresh raspberry, specifically, and initially I was going to do a liqueur made by St. George that I discovered they recently discontinued. They don't make the raspberry liqueur anymore. And I was like, well, I'm sure as hell not going to use Chambord. And one of our reps ended up dropping off a couple of samples of different raspberry liqueurs, and I didn't like either one of them. And I was like, yeah, let's just make a raspberry simple syrup from scratch. So it's this raspberries, those are going to be the fundamentals here. But we're going to do 1.5 ounces of the McConnell's Sherry Finish Irish Whiskey. And I'm going to pour it into the large portion of the shaker, even though Anthony pours into the small portion of the shaker. But you know what? Peas, pods, whatever. It's all good. And raspberry syrup, made by yours truly. Fresh raspberries, a squeeze of lemon, a slice of lemon, sugar, water. It's chef's kiss, as they say. 3/4 ounce. Look at that color. This is Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. Okay. Lemon. In addition to, like I said, the squeeze of lemon juice and slice of lemon in the syrup, we are going to do 1/2 ounce of fresh squeezed lemon. It's almost like a raspberry lemonade. It's pretty good. And then, for some excitement, Saint Germain Elderflower Liqueur for just a very slight floral component, 1/4 ounce. I don't want to overdo it. A little bit goes a long way with this stuff. And get ready, Cointreau. Very French. It's all very French. Cointreau orange liqueur. We're going to do 1/4 ounce of that as well, just to offset the lemon, add a little bit of roundness to the cocktail in general. There's no room over here, so I'm just going to do that. I think that's it. The raspberries, yeah. We add ice. Big boys. This is my glass, which I should also add a cube to that because I'm going to serve it over ice. 1 large clarified cube. Voila. Okay, now we shake her up. There we go. And I'm going to double strain it because I didn't double strain the raspberry syrup. I don't think the lemon juice, actually, I don't know if the lemon juice is double strained, but just to be safe, alrighty. Whoop. Scared myself there. Anyway, that's done. The garnish is next. This just was on the fly. I'm gonna take a skewer and take I'm gonna take 2 raspberries, and I've got a little bit of sugar over here. I'm just gonna coat each one in sugar, just for a little sweetness. And then I'll add them to a metal skewer. And you guys ever had creme brulee? No? Well, we're gonna creme brulee these bad boys. little char. Right over top, right on the side, whatever works. Yeah, that'll work. Happy Valentine's Day. Hello. Divine.
All right, I hate Scotch. Absolutely hate it. But there's a couple Scotch cocktails that I really like. One of them is the Rusty Nail. You ever go to the supermarket or a liquor store and you see bottles of Drambuie and have no idea what Drambuie is? I'm not sure anyone really uses Drambuie in a cocktail, except if it's in a Rusty Nail, which is typically 1 part Drambuie and 2 parts Scotch, with a little bit of a lemon twist and an old-fashioned style glass, a rocks glass. But I thought maybe we would make a cocktail dedicated to like those dudes who like bought a girl flowers, try to give them to her, ask her out on Valentine's Day, and then, you know, got rejected. So they ended up hanging out with their dudes or their bros. This one's called a Brogue, which is, it's not an original cocktail whatsoever. I don't know the history of it though, but it is a kind of a riff on a Rusty Nail. So, shaken. So it's like a Rusty Nail if it was a whiskey sour. And the flowery part of it comes from this lavender infused honey syrup that I made, which it's a half a cup of honey, half a cup of sugar, full cup of water, and then about a tablespoon of fresh lavender. And it smells amazing. This whole room smells like lavender right now. And it's been getting at me all day. Kind of smells like tea, like what you want out of tea. We're gonna use that in here. And I mentioned the ratios for a Rusty Nail being 1 to 2. This is gonna be basically an equal parts cocktail, except with a little bit the addition of 3/4 ounce of fresh squeezed lemon juice. So that's gonna be our next ingredients. Guys, do yourself a favor and fresh squeeze your juice. It took me 20 minutes to think about this, but it took me 4 minutes to do it, right? So got that here, fresh squeezed lemon juice after our syrup. This is Drambuie. It's not elusive at all. It's funny, you go to a liquor store, they won't have things that matter like Averna or Nonino, but they'll have Drambuie, and there's literally one purpose for it, and it's a Rusty Nail. So I'm happy I found another purpose for this bottle of Drambuie that I've had for probably 1,000,000 years. Anyway. And then Scotch, because when you hang out with your bros, you think you're cool because you drink Scotch. Scotch sucks. We're using Bunnahabhain 12, all right? So got that. Again, equal parts cocktail. The 3 equal parts are gonna be the syrup, the lavender infused honey syrup, the Drambuie, and then the Scotch. So we're gonna do a single ounce of each of those, and we're gonna shake them, but we're gonna use 3/4 ounce of the lemon juice. So what you'll need, obviously, is your shaker, your Hawthorne strainer. We're gonna do a fine mesh strainer. Here we're actually gonna double strain this one, and then you need a chilled coupe. So we'll start with the ingredient with the lowest proportion first, which is how we always build our cocktails. 3/4 ounce. Fresh squeezed lemon. When I'm shaking cocktails, I always put everything into the small tin. And we'll get to where we add the ice, but build your drink in the small tin, all right? So, this is our honey-infused lavender syrup. Again, half a cup honey, half a cup sugar, full cup of water, and then about a tablespoon of fresh lavender. We're doing a full ounce of this, because you need to sugar down that disgusting Scotch you and your buddies love. The very available, never used Drambuie. 1 ounce of that. I'm not even sure what Drambuie is. Who cares? Not me. Cool. Then 1 ounce of Scotch. If you like peated Scotch probably go pretty well in this drink. I think the reason I sit here and I talk shit about Scotch, I think the reason I don't necessarily like Scotch is because I don't like things that are peated, but anyway. Get that out of our way. All right, so we built it. Oh, that smells good. We built in our small shaker, our small tin. We're gonna take 2 large cubes. We're gonna add them to our big shaker. And in spirit of Valentine's Day, I'm gonna tell you, don't be stupid, chill your Cupid. Anyway, that was funny. So then we're gonna take our small tin and pour it into our large tin. Shake the shit out of it. Nice and frothy. Now I will tell you, I've never made this drink, so if it sucks, you didn't see it here. Gonna double strain it, so fine mesh strainer. Oh yeah. It's got all the vibes of a rusty nail, but it smells like the flowers you gave the girl who rejected you. Which is the point of this, right? Beautiful. Get that out of the way. Garnish. Just gonna take some fresh lavender here and have set up. Just kind of give it some pinches because we want like to kind of express it a little bit. Just kind of dash it over top of the drink there. So yeah, rusty nail is kind of like an old-fashioned style drink. When built, it's usually, like I said, an old-fashioned rocks glass over a large cube. Kind of took that and made it into a sour. Let's give it a taste. Oh yeah, that's delicious. If you're hanging out with your bros, that will do you in good. Well, thanks for joining us on Friday episodes here at Stinker Drinker Thinker. If you're new and stopping by, please make sure you hit that subscribe button, like button, all that stuff. Drop a comment too if there's anything you want to see, but we appreciate your time.